So I kind of like that story. I think it's a cool one. So what was what do you think the main moral of the story here was?
It's just like in the end where it said that you can choose to hurt or not. It's like you have a choice all the time as long as you know how to handle the situation by practice ahead of time.
Yep, I think that's exactly what the moral is. But you can't be afraid to use what you know, though. So that's I think that's a big problem that a lot of people end up finding is because I know that there's been other people that have learned from teachers, and the teachers are like, "All right, this stuff is very dangerous. Don't use it on anyone
Right.
for any reason, because you could actually hurt them." And it's like, well, it's kind of what the point of it is like you're gonna hurt somebody, but like you said, I mean, it's learning how to take that and learn how to control it. So, because every time that you end up doing, like even in sparring, whenever we spar, like what you're not trying to kill each other. You're trying to practice and learn. But I mean, you have the opportunities to hurt each other during sparring. But are you seriously going to sit there and punch your training partner in the face as hard as you can? I hope not. Unless that's what you're training for, and they know that you're gonna try. But it's in a real life situation. Yeah, you have to. You end up having to make that choice, and if you have the skill to prevent something from happening, then you should try not to hurt them if they're that unskilled and you are that skilled to the point that you can prevent yourself from actually hurting them comfortably. But if you're struggling and it comes down to it, you need to use what you know, and it could end up leading you needing to hurt them. So anything else that y'all really saw in this story? Any fun points?
Yeah. Beware the old man in a profession where men die young.
Yeah, always. Yeah. I always like to. I remember seeing a video a while back where it was like this old man, and he was like, they were doing this demonstration, and the guy looked as feeble as could be, getting rolled up onto the stand, like the mats, in a wheelchair. And then they stopped right at the edge of the mats. The guy stands up out of the wheelchair, and then all of a sudden it's just like, boom! You almost like it almost seems like the whole arena just shuts up for a second. Everyone can tell what's about to happen, and then it's just like people start trying to go at him, and then they're just like flipping off of him, and he's like barely touching them, and it's just left and right, and then like after he does that for like a few minutes, he hobbles his way back over to the wheelchair and sits down and gets rolled off the stage. And it was I always loved that. But yeah, you should probably beware the old man, the old feeble man, that has practiced his entire life.
I mean, they wheeled him out there. He did what he had to do, and then he digressed back.
Yeah.
He only used the amount of energy that was required in that given situation.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're practicing martial arts, you will eventually meet those types of old men that it's just like, I don't want them to touch me. I don't want them to look at me. I don't want them to be near me, but I want to learn everything that they know. So maybe I should let them for a second.
You have to. I mean, at the very least, acquiesce to that kind of like strength and power in order to fully have an appreciation for what it means to have it.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta suffer just a little bit if you're gonna be the one to like inflict suffering on others.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess something I learned recently, any skill that's not constantly being used eventually atrophies over time. It's just like a muscle. I mean, I don't know what that old man did in his life, but obviously does the martial arts the longest, and he keeps doing it because, I mean, as soon as he was done, he just like just kind of puttered out.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, obviously he sticks with that. I mean, but he's been doing it long enough to where, you know, it's second nature to him.
Yeah.
Seconded probably only by breathing.
All he knows how to do is fighting and
breathing.
breathing.
But it's not even fighting really, because I mean, like Sato in the story, I mean, he could have obviously used it in a violent way. He just chose not to. He exercised that control that you're trying to teach me, that I'm still trying to figure out how to use without accidentally busting somebody in the head.
Well, you're getting better. I mean, we're all getting better with that kind of a thing. I mean, I always loved actually having those situations where I was able to exert that kind of a control, you know, because it's just like, you know, that the person is not skilled enough, so you're able to do it. So my favorite story was always just like, I was at a friend's house when I was like teenager, and we were all having drinks, and one of the other guys, he was like best street fighter around the area or something, and he decided that he wanted to spar me or fight me. I don't know which one he really wanted to do, but we were both intoxicated and not in a good state of mind to do this. So I was like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think we should. And he's like, oh, come on, it's gonna be fun, you know. And he's trying to egg me on. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I want to. I think this is a bad idea. And he's like, come on, and he puts his hands up and he starts to walk at me. I'm like, well, I don't need to put my hands up, and I kick him in the shin, and then he stumbles forward as he throws a punch, and the punch like whizzes by my nose, and then he looks at his feet. He looks up back at me, he scowls, and then he goes at me again, and he keeps on trying to throw punches, and he's trying to move around me, and I keep kicking him in the shins. I don't put my hands up once the entire time, and his punches were getting like 2 or 3 inches away from my face. And then after like a minute or two of doing it, he got bored and he walked away. But neither of us got hurt, and that was probably the best outcome that could have happened in that situation, you know. Mm-hmm. So because I could have hurt him, I could have done more, I could have actually hit the guy, and he could have actually hit me, but I chose nonviolence over violence, you know. So I remember back in high school, people doing that kind of like, I hated that back in high school, being a martial artist, because people wanted to pick a fight with me just because I practiced martial arts. And it was dumb. You know, like why do you want to try to fight the guy that can beat you up? You know? So I remember it was like 2 football players, and they're like, you practice, right? Can you show us? Can you show us? I'm like, I don't want to. Like, why? You know? And they were both walking towards me, and they're like, come on, show us something. And then my back went right up against the wall. And then I looked back, and then I looked back at them, and then they both started throwing punches straight at me. And I just went on the defensive, and I just started blocking. I just planted my feet, stood my ground, put my hands up, and then just started blocking. And I blocked every single punch that they threw at me, both of them. And then after a little bit of time, they were impressed, and they had big wide eyes, and they were just like, okay, yeah, you're a good martial artist, good job, you know. It was just like, thanks. Because I didn't need their approval or anything. I didn't want them to do it in the first place, but like, once again, stop the situation from happening. But those are just situations where it's like, you have people that actually try you, and then you're able to stop it. But you can tell that their intention, like, I think I could instinctually tell their intention wasn't to actually hurt me, you know. So I didn't try to hurt them. And I mean, I could have, you know, but I chose not to. But it's like, if their intention isn't to hurt me, why should my intention be to hurt them, you know? It's always better to just talk your way out of it. That's honestly the very first step in any martial arts, is to just talk your way out of it. That's part of it. But I tried, didn't work. They proceeded. So anyways, any cool stories from y'all? I don't know.
No.
Not really. No.
I've never been in a fight, so.
Alright. Well, you get to spar for the first time tomorrow if you're here. So.
I'll beat him.
Yeah, you get to beat us up. You know.
I'll pretend in my
Yeah.
mind. I'll be like, I'll be so
Yeah.
cool and awesome.
Yeah. Laying on the floor, out cold, like you know, Takanoche. You know,
Yeah.
I was so cool, so cool.
That just means I'm just really good at taking punches then.
Yeah.
Or, well, I don't think there'll be actual punches probably, but something similar along those lines.
Yeah, it'll be something like that. But I thought it was just interesting that we were actually doing a jiu-jitsu story because, you know, we're practicing the Brazilian jiu-jitsu stuff right now. But, I mean, jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu are two different martial arts. But I think they kind of stem from the same background because, I mean, why would it be... I mean, it obviously does because Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's the word is jiu-jitsu, which is Japanese for the name of their style.
Right.
So it had to have come from Japan first. And then they were just like, Brazilian version, we're on the ground, not standing. Haha. Yeah.
I guess. Haha.
Of course, haha. Why not? Why not haha? Huh?
I don't know.
So it's but I mean they both have the same premise. It's just that they're both doing joint locks. That's their whole thing. Their whole deal is being able to lock out the joints. It's just that one is on their feet and the other one is trying to do the same thing but on the ground. So they both have their points, but I'd rather stay on my feet more than anything. So